ban.
And we're back once again. Quick fire in the games this time, and didn't you have time to sit back in the chair for ready to go with game 2 of this best of 2? Team Dignitas came out swinging quick in their first game of the series and really just ran over MUFC, another sub 30-minute game that was just kind of an utter stomp. But what it comes down to, and you really said it well, it's been the day of the supports. Support play across the board. This is our 6th game of the day. Still have 2 series, 4 games left following all of this, but it really has just been all about the secondary players and what they're able to do to free the map up. And Dignitas really, they just didn't miss a beat. Like, there were very few moments whenever it seemed like they were making mistakes or they overextended and getting themselves back into real form. MUFC now, again, not wanting to fall any further in the group stage standings. They're going to want to split the series.
10 seconds remaining.
Well, I think they have a good chance. I'd say these two teams are probably more evenly matched than the games that we've seen prior to, even though Dignitas, let's be honest, they kind of housed MUFC in game number 1. But I think that's more because of the draft than anything else. When you make a composition that's solely based around one thing, and you don't do that one thing, then you pretty much automatically lose. That's why a lot of people started picking heroes like Prophet or basically Puck or anybody who can either initiate or they can split push, because it gives you options. MUFC's lineup didn't have any options outside of we need to win our lanes really hard or we just lose the game. And they didn't win their lanes, so they lost the game. I mean, it's just very cut and dry. And it's not to say that the draft was necessarily bad, it just didn't do anything else. So for game 2, we'll see if MUFC want to change it up a bit. And it looks like they're going to first pick up the Alchemist, so they're taking a page out of pretty much everyone else's book today. It seems like all the Eastern teams just first pick Alchemist. And Dignitas' answer is going to be the Lifestealer Rubik.
Lifestealer Rubik certainly gives them a number of options and how they want to lane this out. And we're beginning to see a little bit of a snapback on the Alchemist. I mean, you know, Alchemist mid, the hero certainly works there, but there are many ways you can abuse that. Rune control, as we actually saw a real good example of that in the Darkseer versus the Alchemist earlier. You can just shove him back, and yes, he's going to find some farm, but it's not going to be easy for him. He's not going to have any rune control, and if you combine that with pressure elsewhere on the map, it gets really risky for him to come much out past the lip of his own side of the river. So with Dignitas grabbing 2 heroes that can work very well in aggressive conjunction with each other, that's something MUFC is going to have to be very conscious of. But really, you know, I'm beginning to come around to the mind that an Alchemist is one of those heroes that, like, whenever I think of how I want him to fit in, or when it seems like he's most successful, it is predominantly with push-oriented lineups. And wow, second pick Shadow Demon very quickly, grabbing a counter to that Lifestealer. Do love that pick. The deal with the LS, of course, just really screws with the hero terribly bad, being able to disrupt whatever target he hits with open wounds, and then hit him with Demonic Purge. But yeah, that's a very quick Shadow Demon, really. They probably could have waited on that. There are a lot of heroes that counter Lifestealer they could have picked up in the second phase.
Yeah, but Shadow Demon is one of those heroes that not only is he a great support because he is good against Lifestealer, but he can also roam very, very effectively. And you want to talk about combos. Alchemist Shadow Demon combo is so strong, and Stable Concoction scales all the way up to, I believe it's 440 damage. Or no, excuse me, it's 360 at level 4. So that with the Soul Catcher, that's a tremendous amount of burst damage. And any Alchemist that goes mid is always going to be maxing Concoction and Spray, and maybe even going for a Medallion if you're Mushi. Some like to go straight for the mech, depending on what kind of team you have. And obviously we haven't seen what MUFC's offlaner is going to be just yet, so we're not sure.
Right.
But I can say with some certainty that I do think that Alchemist is a really good choice for mid, for one of 2 reasons. One, he is actually pretty level reliant for a kind of a carry-ish hero, because his ultimate is so good. Like, even at level 6, 250 health, and the kind of regeneration that he gets, and of course, you end up getting bonus movement speed on top of that, that's huge. Just being able to fight a little bit earlier and having team contribution abilities like Concoction and Spray is great. And he doesn't really need to do anything but Bottle Crow to stay in his lane, which pretty much all mids do anyway, especially heroes like Dragon Knight. So I do actually like Alchemist quite a bit, even as a first pick. It does leave you wide open to do pretty much whatever you want to. But Dignitas having a Lifestealer and a Rubik, I think they're probably going to continue to play aggressive like they did in game 1, just see if MUFC is ready for it this time.
Grabbing up their second core. Love the 2-core approach of a Lifestealer and a Lone Druid. Most of the time, we certainly didn't see it work out in our last game, but those 2 heroes just really do such a good job of taking pressure off of each other, being able to, if one has to go into the jungle and try to find some time to play catch up, usually the other's strong enough and potent enough in the later stages of the early game and on into the mid game to give them that room, to give them that space, especially if they draft a good supporting cast. This is very much a lineup that my first inclination for Dignitas is a puck. A puck pick would just fit in beautifully here, having two heroes who need the ability to close in on a target. And two heroes that also have the ability to immobilize targets they do get close to in one way or another. But still, more than likely, whenever you see Dignitas grab up the Lone Druid, it will be AUI playing him. Tends to be in the offlane / jungle. Now, MUFC is the team. I really want to see what they want to build around this Alchemist, whether that's going to be a mid or a farming Alchemist, one way or the other. And you can't really discount Shadow Demon as being one of the better off. Wow, okay. Third pick Bounty Hunter. I think that answers our question. They're going to want to fight.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the thing about picking a bounty hunter in this particular case is they've already banned out the Chen. They've banned out the Wisp, so they know there's not going to be any huge heavy push. There's not a whole lot of AoE, which bounty hunter does not deal with well because he kind of needs a BKB against those types of lineups. But Dignitas still have 2 more picks. So there is the potential to punish this if they really, really want to, or they could pick a really greedy secondary support like a Shadow Shaman and just go for the safe lane farm and just try to mow down towers with Lone Druid, Mass Serpent Wards, and just go for that kind of death ball kind of push that we saw DK do against them, but just in a bit of a different manner. So the ball is in Dignitas' court right now. Do they want to get their support? Do they want to get their mid? We don't know where the Lone Druid's going yet. Could be safe lane. They could do an aggressive tri lane because right now seeing the Shadow Demon Alchemist, that could be a safe lane for MUFC. But it still takes time to reveal that, and Dignitas aren't really sure yet where that Alchemist is going, so they're going to go with the safe support, they're going to go with the Bane, so it leaves them open to tri-lane still if they want to aggressively, but I feel as Dire, it might be too much of a risk.
Yeah, I mean, the Bane pickup, I really like it for no other reason. That would have been another good hero for MUFC to have fit into their lineup just as a secondary support, would have given them 2 solid answers to the Lifestealer in particular, but also being able to enfeeble the bear to slow down early and mid-game pushes. And look who showed up for the party. Magnus, a hero who at one point was as ubiquitous a first pick, first ban as we've seen in Dota in the last year. Fell way off the map with the changes that came in the latest patch, and we're going to be seeing him now. That's the initiation that they certainly did need. And a hero who, so long as he does get the start that he wants, can fight early. This strikes me as a lineup that's it seems pretty clear-cut. That's probably going to be a farming Alchemist bounty in the off lane, Mag taking his talents to mid. And the Alchemist is it seems like a game where he's going to want to build a Shadow Blade right off the bat. Get Phase Boots, get Shadow Blade, start making use of Bounty Hunter with track, start making use of Magnus's ability to just completely change the complexion of a game with one ability. And try to put Dignitas on the back foot, because when Dignitas was able to get their legs underneath them in game number 1, they rolled and made it look easy doing so.
5 seconds remaining.
I definitely agree with that. The one worry, though, for MUFC right now is they're kind of lacking in the damage department. I mean, they can maybe focus one person down. You get the Shuriken, Unstable Concoction, Shockwave on one person. You kill that hero pretty much. But then what else do you have? You're against 2 heroes, the Lifestealer and the Lone Druid, who have amazing fight sustain. They can stay an incredibly long time. Root comes off cooldown on the bear. You get root after root. Lifestealer's auto attack damage is tremendous. Now they have a Timber Saw, who also is very, very good mid against melee heroes, as we've actually... Well, he is good against melee heroes, but let's be honest, Bushi didn't play a spectacular Timber Saw game. He kind of ended up feeding a bit. But Timber Saw against Magnus, got to give the advantage to Timber Saw. His mana cost for his Whirling Blades at level 1 is 70. That's like nothing. That's less than Shockwave. And Shockwave costs 90. That's like nothing, too. So I think the Timber Saw matchup is going to be great. Also very hard to gank. A disruption doesn't necessarily mean a guaranteed kill on a Timber Saw either, so long as he's kind of close to trees. But Dire's side mid is a bit wide open. So he needs to be a little bit careful.
MUFC grabbing themselves the Enigma. That's going to give them even more initiation. That's going to give them a great chain of initiation. I mean, it's hard to imagine a reverse polarity followed by a black hole with an unstable concoction ready to follow it up once those heroes are all close together. It's a black hole. Not only does it immobilize the heroes, it actually brings them closer together in that AoE for an unstable concoction. You catch 2 or 3 with that on a full charge, it is utterly devastating. But I agree with you. There is a problem they do have. The Enigma gives them a little bit more reliable damage. Early on, if he has Eidolons, it gives him a nice single target, a half stun, I guess you would call it, in Maleficus. But it's much more, it's deceptive how surgical this lineup has to be, because they do have so much AoE between the Alchemist Mag and the Enigma, but the way that they approach it, the fights that they choose to take are going to have to be very well chosen. Otherwise, like you said, they're just going to seem to run out of gas in some of these extended team fights.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way, especially considering they picked an Enigma into a team with a Rubik.
Yeah.
That's ballsy. I mean... Rubik can stand so far away from these team fights that there's a good chance that Fogged is going to be able to steal Black Hole just every time.
Right.
Unless the Mag manages to get a good RP. And that's another thing. There is like a plethora of amazing spells for him to steal. He can steal Track, he can steal Chemical Rage, he can steal RP, Black Hole. I mean, there isn't a bad spell really on the side of MUFC that he can get. So... if you're Dignitas, definitely looking to make use of this Rubik pretty much the entire game. It's going to be a solo safe lane Lone Druid, no real surprise there. I wasn't expecting them to go aggressive, actually, just because of the fact that, again, it is very risky on Dire side. You can't do anything like you can as Radiant, for instance, pull the large camp to the lane. You don't get that opportunity. So if you don't do well, your supports suffer badly. And as we mentioned previously, today has pretty much been supports getting levels, either dominating the game or not. And oh no, Alchemist.
Open wounds, Nightmare right afterwards going to be removed, so they borked it a little. He has no help in the vicinity. He's just going to have to run and hustle. Horn blows as he is just hauling towards his mid lane. Mag's there. Still 3-on-2 if they did engage, but he does make it away. Big missed opportunity there. That Nightmare cost them a little bit. Don't know that they would have got it regardless, but that certainly didn't help.
Yeah, I think they should have definitely gotten First Blood. Fogged, definitely, he biffed that. I mean, he should have been walking as he was auto-attacking instead of just max range auto-attacking and telekinesis him back. That should have actually been First Blood. So, really big mistake there from Fogged, not getting the kill. They did make him use a lot of regen, but let's be honest, the kill is definitely better than making somebody use 2 tangos. Nonetheless, it's going to be very difficult for MUFC to contest this tri-lane because of the fact that the last pick was an Enigma. So Ling is doing offensive jungling instead of jungling in his own woods, whereas TFG is just going to be off lane versus a lone druid. And there is some point in the lane where the bounty hunter can make something happen, but as soon as Aoi hits 5, it's game over, especially considering he has sentries.
One thing that a bounty can do pretty effectively is this style of creep skipping. Just to stay safe, just to make sure he stays fine. And with Ling, as you had mentioned, offensively jungling the Enigma, this is actually a deceptively tenuous situation for AUI. If at any point they decide to rotate, for example, the Shadow Demon up, teleport him up, walk him up, whatever, what have you, and the Enigma has a couple of points into Maleficus, it's going to be a bad time for AUI, especially before he hits level 6 here in mid. Going to be Mag up against the Timbersaw so far, and still pretty close, sneaking, getting the best of it so far. As you had mentioned, very good against melee heroes. He's doubling up the Magnus so far, but you know, the speed at which Magnus grabs his items is really going to be what tells the tale here. How quickly can he get up a Blink Dagger and give them the ability to set off that chain of initiation, because they have a team that can initiate in any way they want, but there's a very particular way they're going to want to do it to maximize their potential, and all of it revolves around that big Magnosaurus.
Well, the nice thing about Mag is he is a melee hero, but eventually you get to a point where you don't have to go into melee range to kill the creeps. You can just shockwave spam. So as long as the Magnus is bottle throwing and he gets his arcanes relatively fast, which as right now he's got 5 CS, it's not terrible. Sneaking's definitely doing a much better job. He's got 12 at 2 minutes, and eventually the Mag is going to be fine. It's just the early game stages that make it a little bit rough. So we'll see how things turn out. But MUFC, a lot more pressure is being put on them to make sure that they can find their farm, because you don't want to have to offensively jungle if you're an Enigma. I mean, look where Ling is standing right now. He's like, this is not my happy place. I don't want to be here. I would much rather be in my woods and making something happen there. But nonetheless, he doesn't really have a choice anymore. And TFG eventually is just going to be suffering here once Aoi gets to 5 again, and Tangle is going to be pretty much the end of all the fun. And then bottom, you have poor Alchemist, who is looking longingly at these creeps going, I wish so badly I could get you, but I can't.
Sitting at 1 CS, yeah. Old Alchemist not having the best early game, doesn't have a point in a Grievous Screed, and why would he? Not going to make a difference. And here's what we were talking about. The rotation of Winter up to top. TFG, level 4. He's got a point in a Shuriken toss. Let's see if they want to try to engage. Sentries are down. But Way 2 also hovering abouts nearby. Not enough mana on the Enigma to really do anything but allow his Eidolons. And Eidolons do so much damage early on. They really do. But they also give you some gold. And they're happy to grab a free 100 or so as they kill off a couple. Soul Ring now done on the Enigma as well, so that should help shore up his mana issues. Now, this is the decision you usually see Enigma players have to face. Once you get that Soul Ring up, do you look to get aggressive, or do you look to just continue farming and go for one more big item, like a BKB, a Mechanism, also very common. Looks like so far, not wanting to get too tangled up in things in the enemy woods.
Well, I don't know if BKB is necessarily a good call here, just because if he goes for a BKB, nobody else in the team is going to be making a mech. The Alchemist is getting no farm. Obviously, the Bounty Hunter is not going to be making a mech, and even with the BKB, Rubik can still steal your black hole. So it's like kind of a moot point to try to go for an item like that. So I do feel like he'll probably go for the boots into just straight mech so he can actually push. And the rotation so far from MUFC really hasn't accomplished a whole lot, but they might try to go for Aoi now.
Disruptions there, they're going to follow it up. There's the Malefice. 3 ticks. Number 2, but number 3, not enough to allow him to close the distance. So MUFC comes up wanting, and that's a missed opportunity there. They spent a lot of time just kind of wandering around, and as you mentioned, they're sacrificing a lot to not have anyone down here helping out poor Alchemist. They're giving away quite a bit. He's sitting at 3 CS. He's tied in CS with the Bane at 5 minutes in, and he is just going to feel like a complete non-factor. He's even a little bit under-leveled, sitting at just level 4 right now, compared to a level 3 and a level 4 Lifesteal and Rubik, who have basically been nut to butt from the moment the laning phase began. So 5 minutes in, no kills on the board, but Dignitas definitely feeling like they're coming out ahead here in the laning phase.
Yeah, without a doubt. And Sneaking being level 6 now, good luck ganking him. He's going to probably start putting more points into his Timber Chain soon, which means that he can just latch to trees, run away from pretty much anything. The one nice thing, though, and I'm actually a little bit surprised this hasn't happened yet, is Link can actually go back to his woods. Winter is actually making his way down to bottom lane to help out the Alchemist now. But because of the fact that there's only one support, oh, actually, this Alchemist could be very dead here.
Caught out down to half health in the blink of an eye, threw down the acid spray, but trying to buy himself some time. One more auto attack will do it. There you go. First blood goes the way of Dignitas for the second game in a row. This time, though, they don't trade it away. They just picked off one of the... Call the police because they're beating up poor people. That Alchemist has had very little go his way here early on, and that certainly doesn't help. Up at top, we've got eyes on AUI and Way 2. No black hole available for the Enigma. They are going to try to catch AUI. There's a Nightmare, though, to buy him time. Malefice stick still going off. Shuriken, not enough. Makes it away and salves himself back up. TFG, no mana, forced to run away from the bear. Not too happy of his owner getting blasted with a shuriken, so a little bit of trade into the paint, but no other deaths. Remains 1-0. Down at bottom, we're going to have a re-engagement as Fog's finally going to be cleaned up. They make it onto the board. Now Universe, after a disruption, able to withdraw. They do end up cleaning up the Bounty Hunter when all was said and done as well, so Dignitas does still maintain the lead, make it 2-1 now.
On the board, but on the board with probably not the most important hero. I mean, yeah. Rubik, a kill is a kill, and FCSC had to come down here, and he didn't use his RP, which is definitely nice. He needs to carry a TP, and he needs to be able to go top and actually make something happen. And speaking of making things happen, looks like Sneaking picks off Link by the Secret Shot, and Timbersaw in the middle of that area. I mean, look at how many trees are there for him to just destroy you with. That is like the least friendly place for you to be if you're that poor Enigma. And this is kind of why I was saying, I'm just shocked that he hasn't just gone back to his woods. TFG didn't necessarily need help in the top lane. He did die once. But up until that point, as soon as they see the Bane go to Dignitas' side of the map, you can't just send one support into the jungle to stop an Enigma because his Eidolons will just kill you, right? So you can just be safe and farm and not play scared. It looks like he's finally made the transition, but normally at 7 minutes, an Enigma is pretty much level 6. And this Enigma is just hitting level 5 now.
You're in mid. We can see MUFC wanting to do something to this Timbersaw. The Magnus is level 6, damn near level 7. Doesn't have a blink, but does have his arc boots. Trying to track sneaking down. He will go ahead and duck his way down. Find himself a haste rune. Very nice find for a Timbersaw in particular. The Alchemist has finally cracked double digits with his farm, but given we're 8 minutes in, having 11 CS, not exactly the situation you want. At top, Dignitas looking to continue to try and break this map open, putting some pressure onto the tier 1. This is prompting a reaction out of MUFC as they rotate 3 up. Dignitas, though, showing good game sense and awareness, decided to go ahead and pull back before the cavalry arrived.
And this is one of the problems that we're starting to see. Oh man, hasted, sneaking.
There's a disruption. Buys him some time. Bear looking for a route, not going to find it. Track goes off on way 2, but MUFC, the very well-timed and placed disruption by Winter, able to keep that situation from getting out of control. Speaking of out of control, at bottom, Alchemist being chased back under his own tier 1 again. There's a rotation coming over. Infest into the creep. Now he's going to come back out, engaged on the Ling. Has open wounds in 5 seconds. Doing a lot of damage already. And MUFC, I feel like their movement's actually quite good. They just are not able to do enough damage. Up, here we go. RP spent just on way 2. And they do manage to clean the kill up. A little bit of overkill, but hey, at this point, they're feeling a little anemic and just happy to find themselves another kill.
They absolutely need it. Overkill is better than nothing at this stage, and they're pretty heavily diving Aoi, but we're going to have sneaking TPs, so they'll be fine for the moment. And track kill is a track kill too. Also important to keep in mind is any kill that MUFC get is going to be worth far more than what Dignitas can get. They are going to be able to secure the tier 1 though, so it looks like the death of Way 2 will not be in vain. You're going to see a TP down, but it's a little bit too late. And that bounty hunter has absolutely no mana, and I am confused as to why he TP'd to that tower at all. But regardless, MUFC are trying to make some way back into the game, and I would venture to say that the draft is the reason why the game hasn't been going well for MUFC so far, because the Enigma pick, although it seems good on paper because it fits the lineup in terms of adding AoE, it makes your lanes really weak.
Oh yeah.
Because you had an off laner and a jungler and then a hero who basically doesn't have any lane presence in Alchemist and 1 real support. So they've spread themselves incredibly thin during the early game, and Dignitas are just punishing it.
Healer certainly coming out ahead from the deal. He's got phase boots and not very far away at all from his armlet now, and he's already hitting for some very good damage. So Universe quite happy with the way that his lane has treated him. The Alchemist still sitting at just 17 CS, on par with the Bane that was more or less in the jungle the entire game. He has just been an absolute non-factor. He's basically been food. That's just when Dignitas gets hungry, they go take a bite of Alchemist. 11 minutes in, we'll take our first look at the gold graph, and that's about what you'd expect. 4,000 gold going the way of the North American squad. Experience not quite as bad, but certainly in their favor as well. Sitting at 15, we are going to see a rotation again up to top, trying to catch a hero out of position. TFG hanging back just enough. Winter's there to back him up, but those 2 heroes together, not a lot of damage output. If they decide to push here, I don't think they can defend him.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they can either. And it looks like Fog's actually going to steal Track, which is one of the only weapons that MUFC had that Dignitas didn't. So now he can just teleport mid, counter gank, maybe even throw out a Track. Nope, looks like it's not even going to matter. Ling dies before any TP reaction is even necessary. But they're going to spot out Fog here.
Fog's eating a lot of damage quick. Managing to find another kill. Very good escape there by sneaking, by the way. Got away with less than 100 HP after going toe-to-toe with the Mag and the Rube in the mid. But 3-4. And this game, this is one of those games that there's not a ton of action. I feel like, again, the movement feels pretty okay to me from MUFC. I'm not sure if it's their execution or I know it's not. I'm on your side of things. I think you're dead right. Just the lineup they put together, no matter how well they're executing, Dignitas just matches up too well with it, and they gave up way too much in the laning phase. And now we see, this is a familiar situation we've seen all day today. Whenever you have a hero that gets as far behind as this Alchemist does, as soon as an enemy hero just shows up and looks at him funny, he has to teleport home.
Yeah, I mean, normally Alchemist can do okay during the early stage of the game, but against a Lifestealer, he does nothing. And he was so low. So he gets to sit there and watch the Lifestealer get farmed, who Lifestealer is already good against Alchemist anyway, and he's going to be behind pretty much the entire game. He has shreds only right now. The one thing that's a bit surprising is the experience is much closer than you would expect, mainly because Enigma can recover very fast as a jungler because he's innately one of the fastest junglers in Dota, hands down, so that's nice for them. But other than that, Dignitas pretty much have free reign to do whatever they want. Aoi is sitting under the tower here top with 1500 HP, and it looks like he's going to be going Radiance because he's sitting on basically 3800 gold, almost right on the nose right now. And TFG is going to spot him out, so we'll see how much they want to commit to this.
Has help down to the south. Ate the Janata, and then got tracked. They've got Ling and Winter both there. Ling's still under cover of smoke. Looks like they're not too keen to try to dive it right now. And this is one of the strengths of their lineup that is just really not being used. We're just not seeing them be all that successful in that surgical style kind of roaming. They've tried it. Again, their movement's been fine. But Dignitas both through composition and equally through just sniffing it out. Just knowing that it could be coming at any given point, and now they're going to move into mid just to try and force the pressure off by applying pressure of their own.
Top tower is under attack.
While going for the tier 1 mid, tier 1 safe lane, those are pretty much the most valuable towers, so you definitely want to prioritize those, and considering the safe lane from MUFC is already dead, might as well go for mid. Oh, Blink Dagger.
There's an RP. Caught two, but telekinesis, and he stole it. I think he did. He got RP. And he spin it, and he got everybody with it. They're going to follow it up. And MUFC just being melted down. Black Hole going to be spinning. Caught three with it, but no way to follow it. Just no damage output at all. Winner next on the list. Sneaking comes swinging in from the trees. And the Alchemist, in a very familiar state, running for his life from this Lifestealer as Universe. Pursues him out behind his own tier 2. Open wounds is there. Couple of swipes. That'll make it a 4-0. And not just a 4-0, an ugly one. The RP was not bad, but again, the chain of initiation did not go off the way it should have. The Black Hole came way after there was ever any chance for damage follow-up. And Dignitas, especially this guy right here, Fog, using telekinesis, snagging that RP, and spinning it to catch 4 of the enemy. Already this game beginning to feel out of hand once again. We're up to 5 digits again, Draskell, for the 4th consecutive time this game, and we're going to see Mag trying to make something happen. They do manage to kill off one. Now the engagement back on the Ling. RP is not up. Ling will be disrupted, keeps him alive. The tower does end up being destroyed by the Lone Druid in the meantime. They are going to try to reinitiate. Here we go. Wave 2. Lockdown, track kill in his back pocket. Finally, we see MUFC showing some signs of life. AUI now on the run. Open wound slows him down, and he gets rooted for good measure. And they do lose their tower, but they do at least manage to extract some sort of a blood debt. Nonetheless, 5-9, and that gold graph not looking like it's going to turn northward anytime soon.
Well, MUFC got something from that. They didn't just get completely run over during that fight, and this is one of the reasons why I wasn't sure that Enigma was the right choice for MUFC. I think they wanted to compensate for the fact that their damage output isn't so good by just having 2 really nice teamfight ultimates, and Aoi is going to get his TP cancelled because TFG is just really annoying. But in general, when you have a Rubik who knows how to position himself, playing Mag or Bounty Hunter becomes an absolute nightmare. Like, it's just so difficult to make anything really big happen. And they wanted to defend that tier 1 because, as we mentioned, tier 1s pretty much indicate what kind of control you have over Roshan, your own jungle. The tier 1 mid and bottom are both dead now for MUFC. Opens up the map completely for Dignitas. And again, they don't have a single tower down. Everything is still standing pretty strong up until this point. And the supports, again, very high level. Way2 is level 9.5 right now, actually almost 10. And Fog's level 8, whereas a Shadow Demon, again, it seems like Winter just can't catch a break here. He's the lowest level in the game by 2 levels right now at level 6.
Gonna see a smoke up. TFG, followed by Winter, FCY. And now Way2 spotted out. Nice kill for them to grab. I'll tell you what, they've lost a lot and they still got a big mountain to climb. But they are doing what they can. This is that kind of surgical style. Oh, the RP whiffed! Spinning a little late on sneaking. They do get the disruption off. And he's still up and fighting. Now the reinitiation. AoE damage there for the moment. Is it enough? No! Gonna see him cleaned up and sneaking. Again, just swinging tree to tree. Trying to catch up. Chakram not gonna catch the Magnus. Open wound, so a little bit more effective. As Winter One of only two still standing. Chakram catches him and he got snagged on the creeps. And that's a triple kill going the way of Sneaking. Second time we've seen Timbersaw today with a totally different outcome. Sneaking just making this hero look more than viable, making him look damn good, and he's actually picked up a soul booster now. And yeah, this tower gonna drop. And yeah, I think this is a familiar situation, Drass. This is sixth time today we've had only one tower standing before 20 minutes on one side or another. And guess what? All three tier 1 still up for Dignitas, not a 1 below half health.
Really nice performance out of Dignitas. I love the use of Timbersaw here. The thing about Timbersaw is he's a very good hero when you snowball, and when you're playing ahead, it's so hard to deal with him because his mobility is insane. His damage output basically scales on his mana pool because his spell cooldowns are so low. So as soon as you get your Bloodstone, 1500 health, he can have right now up to 10 armor because he only has 2 points in reactive, but at some point, he's going to be pretty much unkillable.
Right.
Now, he's not fantastic at pushing the base because there's not really many places to hook to, but we just had an example there of when he's chasing you and you're in your woods, you are just simply not getting away. There's just no way you can run fast enough. So they're utilizing him pretty much exactly the way that you need to be. And since they have a Lone Druid to crack the base anyway with a Lifestealer, they're not really going to be lacking too much in the base pushing department. And looks like tier 1, or excuse me, the tier 2 mid of the MUFC is going to be one of the last stops here.
MUFC trying to get into position. Very important fight. They need to defend this. Need to try at the very least. They've got Black Hole as well as RP up. And we were right about what the Alchemist was going to build. Shadowblade, 20 minutes in, and he's quite a ways away from it. And sucked up under their own tier 3. Doesn't look like they actually are going to try. You see Universe tracked out, trying to zone them out. Acid Spray, not going to do much. And the tower goes down. Last remaining vestiges of map control. Evaporate and Dignitas in complete control of their fate. 12,000 gold coming up on 7,500 experience. Don't know what they can do. Really don't.
Yeah, it's a hard life, honestly. I mean, Ling's got his mech. FCFC has Blink, which means that there is the possibility to find that one, like, perfect wombo combo, and that will win a team fight. Like, there's no doubt about it. If they get that off, they get like 3 or 4 people, the Rubik's inside, the Bane is inside, then they can win it. Because there really aren't that many interrupts on the side of Dignitas to stop the Black Hole. But the thing is, Fog doesn't have to stand anywhere near the fight.
Right.
He can be, like, I don't know, at the tier 1 mid or something when they're pushing the base, and it's fine. Just as so much as he's close enough to get in range after the RP goes off. And his reaction mid shows that he's pretty much on his game here, even though he kind of fumbled the first blood attempt. They ended up getting it anyway a little bit afterwards. His telekinesis was almost instant. He didn't even get Skewer off after the RP, he just got lifted, so... With that kind of play, I think Dignitas are going to be more than fine. It is still a bit scary to push inside of the base, but when you have an Aegis at your disposal and a Desolator on Universe for the next push, I think he can probably crack the base.
Yeah, this is... Buying the Desolator on the Lifestealer in this situation is very much a we're going to end the game right now item. It helps Throshan, and yeah, it's a generally good item overall, but... There's a reason why I usually go with a more well-rounded item, something like an SNY or what have you, just because it allows you to scale a little bit more easily and not feel like you valley out if someone on the enemy team happens to out-tank your damage, but that's just not going to happen. And I'll tell you, poor TFG, he's done his job moderately well. It's just his movement has not had a lot of follow-up to it. He's been in position for a lot of gank attempts. They had a couple of nice ones coming through the last stages of the early game. But since then, he's always around, and finally able to make it happen. Here comes Universe, though, going to re-engage and showing off that Deso. 3 swipes, all it took to clean him up. And when you see an Alchemist go running this hard for safety, you know that's a fed Lifestealer. 7-14, Dignitas doubling them up in kills, and looking to perhaps just suffocate all of these lanes and start pushing the tier 3.
I mean, showing the Shadow Blade there, they killed the support with it, so it's something. A track kill is a track kill. The Bounty Hunter ended up forfeiting his own life for that. And bots picked up now on Sneaking, so Timbersaw is actually a decent split pusher. He's not a great tower killer, but he can kill the creep wave pretty much instantly, so that's going to be pretty annoying for MUFC to deal with. Just more lanes constantly being shoved into their base. It does give them more gold, but it also means that Dignitas is getting the same gold plus your entire woods to farm. And this is when it starts to come into effect that you're just going to get smothered by the fact that Dignitas have the entire map and you don't. And because of the fact that Ling doesn't have a BKB or a Blink Dagger to follow up, it makes it difficult for him to go in himself, but they're going to go for it.
Shadow Blade, not anticipated. Unstable Concoction got one. He's doing what work he can. We're going to see Sneaking Retreat. Now here he comes. RP got two. Can they follow it up? Dignitas. Actually, that was one plus the Bear. The Bear actually makes it away as well. Now the reinitiation as Universe hacks down the Enigma before he could do anything. Blink Dagger finished on the Rubik in the meantime. So even though they had a decent opportunity to take a fight, Dignitas able to hold it together. Bring down two, and not just bring down two, they brought down the two most important on their entire team. Those big AoE ultimate dealers. This is going to be at least one set of racks. And could potentially be two if they just want to rotate and test their luck. At bottom, AUI now getting into position. His Bear... I thought his Bear got away. Apparently it didn't, so yeah, doesn't have it to resummon.
Yeah, it's not a huge deal. I mean, they're just going to feed on the tower. Desolator helping the base push quite a bit here. Still a little bit of time at the Aegis, not a lot though.
Fog catching the Unstable Concoction, Chakram tossed down. Now they're going to go for it. There's a skewer that caught way too. Gonna end up, not quite dead. Mech's all the way through it. Now the cavalry's there. Chakram slowing everyone down. We're going to see Enigma picked up again. Out comes the Infest. That is going to be a damn near team wipe. That's going to be another tier 3, and that very likely, whether they call it or not, is going to be your GG. No way. With this kind of a team composition, they're going to play back. Dignitas with an utter command performance. Not only are they double raxing at 25 minutes, they have not lost a single tower.
Really impressive out of Dignitas, especially bouncing back after that. Let's be honest, it was a pretty harsh defeat to DK earlier.
Yeah, it was ugly.
And to come back like this and pretty much do the same thing to MUFC, it's pretty scary. I mean, the thing is, so many teams have practiced for so long for the International that anyone can have a bad game or a bad series in a best of 2, and let's be honest, these are the preliminaries, so yeah, not everything is based on this, but you still want to do well.
Oh yeah.
You want to get in the upper bracket. You don't want to get stuck in the lower bracket because, as you had mentioned during the beginning of the whole broadcast, I believe, you don't want to be with one foot on the way out.
Yep.
So, Dignitas making a bit of a recovery here. Glad to see it. North American guys sticking one to MUFC. I'm a fan personally, but I think MUFC. And it hurts me to say it, but it's like, this game to me almost was lost at the draft, and not even because their draft was bad, it was because their draft couldn't lane. Like, they didn't have good lanes.
Right.
Their team composition was okay, they could fight, but the fact of the matter is Dignitas were just so much more effective during the early game that it really didn't matter what MUFC did.
The way it ended up playing out and the way it started to feel to me was they were really relying on the Alchemist to give them some punch in the mid game, and they also... their team could fight, you're dead right, but it feels a little schizophrenic in its aims, because you have a bounty hunter who usually wants to gank in small packs. Hold that thought, TFG. See you, brother. That's another kill going to Universe. But you have a bounty hunter who normally wants to gank it small ways, wants to roam the map, wants to make kills happen on an individual basis. Then you put him with a team that outside of the Alchemist is 100% reliant for their damage and for how they're going to function in landing 2 big 5-on-5 AoE ultimates. So it just felt like they could do both of those things. They just couldn't do either of them particularly well. And Sneaking showing off his Dagon there. He is going to be caught out. Don't think it's going to matter, as he has just tanked up. And yeah, they still can't kill him. Just is not dying ever. And behind him, Dignitas about to make it megas. So the GGs, I would imagine, will be coming out sometime very soon. There it is. Dignitas bouncing back and bringing their group stage record back to even. 2-2. Rolling in 2 very quick games. Our 6th consecutive sub 30-minute match of the day here on our stream. And MUFC giving the boot the hard way. What a show.
Definitely. Dignitas deserving of this one. I really liked their style of play in this best of 2 much more than the one that we saw them in before. And I think they deal with these kind of strategies a lot better. They deal well with things that are a little bit off the wall. They're good at adapting, but one of the weaknesses is when you're facing heavy push, I feel like Dignitas just aren't so good at dealing with that.
Right.
Like, honestly, that's how I see them lose the most. So if they can kind of patch that up, I think they're going to be in pretty decent shape, because whenever you have like split push games or team fight games, Dignitas are up there with the best in the world. Like, their coordination, when we're watching games, I always watch team fights and I look for the most effective spell usages and not wasting a stun on a hero that's already dead,
right,
or using a disable to stop an ultimate or what have you. And they don't miss a beat. They're very similar to the Chinese teams mechanically. So it's about decision making, it's about drafting, and not getting pushed in 20 minutes if you're Dignitas. So I'm curious to see if they can continue this success and maybe beat one of the, I guess you could say, powerhouse Eastern teams. Because let's be honest, MUFC is a great team, but they're considered maybe lower tier.
Oh, yeah.
If we're talking about the likes of IG and DK and even Orange. So very, very nice performance out of Dignitas. Good luck to MUFC in their next game, and that's all I got.
We got another East versus West matchup coming up next, folks. That's going to be Tongfu taking on Virtus Pro. Going to have some downtime. It's a trend. We admit it. It's not our fault. These games just tend to be dominant and have been throughout most of the day. But yeah, Tongfu taking on VP. Anxious to see VP back in action. The only Russian team invited to be a part of the international, so certainly going to be a lot of our Rusky friends rooting for that squad. Tongfu, though, we've already seen in action. They just flat out ran over Orange Esports. And Orange ain't a team that's easy to run over, so certainly a team rolling in with quite a bit of confidence. Anyway, like I said, going to be about 40 minutes before we get our fourth series of the day underway. Thank you so much again for being a part of the broadcast. I'm here at AC Chambers. That's Draskell, and we'll be back. See you in 40.